Appendix 2.8 Pahlavi Vendidad 19, which has 47 or 147 verses, depending on how you count. 1:1. From the northern direction of the directions, from the northern direction of the place, from the direction of the demons, the evil spirit rushed forth, the deadly demon of the demons. 2. And thus exclaimed he, the evil spirit, the deadly. 3. Rush on, O Druge, and destroy him, the righteous Zarathustra. 4. On to him they rushed, the Druge, the demon Boot, and secret moving destruction, the deceiver. 2:5. Zarathustra chanted aloud, the Ahuna Va'irya formula. Those two, in brackets, those two Yata Ahu Va'iryos, which stand before Hushite, Yasna 68:14, out of brackets, and he consecrated the good water, which is of good creation. The good, Da'iti, would probably be identified by the Pahlavi translator with the river of that name. See page 357, note 1. We are on page 380. And the Mazdayasnian religion was professed by him, in brackets, that is, he uttered the Fravarane, Yasna 1:23, out of brackets 6. The Druge was confounded by that. Away they rushed, the demon Boot, and secret moving destruction, the deceiver. 3:7. The Druge exclaimed, in reply to him thus, thou art a misleader, O evil spirit. This thou art, in brackets, that is anything unlooked for, which is not possible for thee to do thyself, thou orderest us to do. 8. The ruin of him who is Spitaman Zarathustra is not contemplated by us. 9. Owing to the full glory, in brackets, owing to the great diligence, out of brackets, of the righteous Zarathustra, A, so that they announce that whoever remains in activity on him, less affliction comes. 10. Zarathustra perceived in his mind thus, the wicked demons, astute and evil, consult together about my ruin. 4:11. Up rose Zarathustra, forth went Zarathustra. 12. From the extinction of evil thought, akomano, in brackets, when the evil thought in his body is extinguished, out of brackets, by severely distressing questions, brackets, by those questions so severe which are proposed to it. A. Some say that evil thought is extinguished by him when he asks what is severely distressing. It is not clear whether the Pahlavi translator means to personify akomano as a demon existing independent of the mind or not. 13. And he held a stone, Sog, in his hand, which was the size of a hut, the righteous Zarathustra. In brackets, the rocky stone, some say, is the spirit of the Yata Ahu Va'iryo. In Arabic, there's that A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim phrase, and I guess a couple like it, right? Satan the stoned is what refuge is sought from. But in here we have, are the stone of three kinds. If we read Sage 3 Guno instead of Sage, Sagino, as Sag, not Song, is the usual word for stone in the Pahlavi Vendidad. There seems little doubt that a stone is meant, though tradition prefers to understand the phrase as the thrice three, applicable to the Naugira, or nine-jointed staff of Zarathustra. See page 333, note 4. We are on page 380. 14. Who thus besought the Creator Ahurmazd. 15. Where is that kept on this wide, round, far-traversed earth, which is to be fixed on the roof? The words Darjik Zabar, being merely a transcription of the Avesta, are translated in accordance with the meaning adopted in page 333, note 4. In the dwelling of Porushasp. Okay. In the dwelling of Porushasp. I think I stopped when there was a note. So, A, some say it is kept on this earth, so wide, round, and far traversed, and the place which is kept for it is fixed on the roof in the dwelling of Porushasp. 5:16. Zarathustra proclaimed aloud, brackets, that is, he openly, patdid, conveyed, out of brackets, to the evil spirit thus, O evil spirit, astute in evil. 17. I destroy the creatures produced by the demons. I destroy the corruption, nasush, produced by the demons. 18. I destroy the desire for witches, in brackets, the worship of idols, out of brackets, until the triumphant Sud Hamand, beneficial one, is brought forth by the water of Kashosai, in brackets. A has both I destroy and my disciples destroy thee, and after he arrives, he will annihilate thee by his own deeds, out of brackets. 19. From the eastern direction of the directions. A, from the place where the sun comes up on the longest day to the place where it comes up on the shortest day is the east. From the place where it comes up on the shortest day to the place where it goes down on the shortest day is the south. From the place where it goes down on the shortest day to the place where it goes down on the longest day is the west. And the remainder is the north. Some say that the north is an abyss. Gningap, something like that, the belief of the Norse. Reading Te, a bottom, as hell's supposed to be in the north, but the word may be also read Ta-e, a summit, which might refer to the mountain, Arazura, at the gate of hell. See page 316, note 4, and page 337, note 9. We are in page 381. 6:20. In reply to him, exclaimed the evil spirit, astute in evil. 21. Thus destroy not these my creatures, O righteous Zarathustra. 22. Thou art the son of Porushasp, and thou art from the conception of thy mother's womb. I know thee. A is in brackets. Some from the conception. Some say that I had the worship of thy ancestors, and do thou also worship me. 23. Curse the good religion of the Mazdiastians, and obtain happiness as Vogno the king obtained it. 7:24. In reply to him spoke he who is Spitaman Zarathustra. 25. Thus I curse not that which is Ahurmazd's own, the good religion of the Mazdiastians. 26. Not for love of body nor life, not for much result, not for good result, not on account of parting of body and soul, in brackets, that is, although they cut off my head, yet I curse not. So he is sort of a Balaam figure. Numbers 22, is that where the Balaam story is? Something around there. 8:27. In reply to him, exclaimed the evil spirit, astute in evil. 28. With what words dost thou smite me? In brackets, that is, wouldst thou make me confounded? And with what words wilt thou molest me? Brackets, molest is in disturb. In the brackets we have, that is, wouldst thou force me apart from the creatures? Out of brackets, with what well-formed implement from these creatures of me who am the evil spirit? 9:29. In reply to him spoke he who is Spitamau Zarathustra. 30. Thus with the Homa mortar and dish, and Homa, even the words Auharmazd pronounced. The Avesta, 31, are my best implements. 32, with those words I smite thee, in brackets, that is, I would make thee confounded. Out of brackets, with those words I molest thee, in brackets, that is, I would force thee apart from the creatures. Out of brackets, with those well-formed implements, O evil spirit, astute and evil. 33, which were given to me by him, the beneficent spirit, and were given to him in boundless time. In brackets, some say thus, which were given to me by him, the beneficent spirit, and were given to me by him in boundless time. Out of brackets, 34, and were given over to me by them, the Ameshaspens, the good rulers, the good arrangers. In brackets, that is, they have been assisting in the giving by them. These words by them lead one to suspect that the Pahlavi translator considered boundless time as much an individual as the beneficent spirit, and that we ought to read by boundless time, the Pahlavi Pavan being both by and in the rare forms Bu Namash and Afamash and Afamshun. For Afamshan in these sentences are of interest to grammarians, as they show that the two pronominal suffixes can be added to one particular. 1035. Zarathustra chanted aloud the Ahuna Va'irya, in brackets, that is, the Yatha Ahu Va'iryo. 36. The righteous Zarathustra spoke out thus, that which I ask of thee, thou tellest to me right, O Auharmazd. Yasna 44, see page 158 to 161. We're on page 382. I am firmly of opinion, in brackets, some say thus, right is what thou tellest to me. 1137. The Pahlavi translator omits the usual opening invocation of the Creator. See the translation of the Avesta text on page 333. Through what is to be fixed on the roof. See page 380, note 4. We're on page 382. Where Auharmazd and the good one, Bahuman, in brackets, of good estimation, are stationed. Ahist. In brackets, this estimation stands for Bahuman, again. Out of brackets, 38, with Ashavahisht, Shataver, and Spendermod, 1239. How should I act with them to defend from that Druj, who is from the evil spirit astute and evil, brackets, that is, how should I make her quite confounded? 40. How when it has become polluted directly? How when it has become polluted indirectly? How shall I dispossess the corruption, Nasush, from the residents, vis, of Mazda-Yasnians? 41. How do I purify a righteous man? How do I bring purification on a righteous woman? 1342. And Auharmazd said to him thus, Thou mayest call, O Zarathustra, upon the good religion of the Mazda-Yasnians. In brackets, that is, celebrate a Vendidad. 43. Thou mayest call, O Zarathustra, upon the Ameshaspens in invisible concealment on the 7 regions of the earth. Brackets, that is, although thou seest them not, they are to be propitiated. 44. Thou mayest call, O Zarathustra, upon the self-sustained universe. Brackets, its self-sustainment is this, that through the energy which is within it, nothing from without is wanted within it. Its self-sustainment to within it is in brackets. And boundless time, and the upper working air, Va'i. 45. Thou mayest call, O Zarathustra, upon the swift wind created by Auharmazd, and call Spendermod, the grateful daughter of Auharmazd. Now we know that's a figure of speech, and these light beings themselves don't actually have gender. It's just a way of talking. Well, there's no just a way of talking, but you know what I mean. It has other meaning. 1446. Thou mayest call, O Zarathustra, upon the spirit, Farvasha of me who am Auharmazd. 47. Which is of the creations of Auharmazd, the greatest in body, the best in worth, the most excellent in appearance, the most formidable, strongest in brackets, the most sagacious, wisest in brackets, the best shaped, that is the limbs most adapted one for the other in brackets, that is to the other in brackets, the highest in righteousness. 48. The soul of which is the beneficent text. 49. Thou shouldest thyself, O Zarathustra, call these creatures of Auharmazd, in brackets, that is, do not surrender it from thy hand, out of brackets. 1550. Zarathustra considered my words. The sentence is corrected by comparing it with 114 further on. In brackets, that is, he hearkened to them. A. Some say that Zarathustra considered my words, brackets, that is, he believed about them that it would be necessary to keep and hear them, out of brackets. 51, and said, I call upon the righteous Auharmazd, the creator of creatures. 52, I call upon Mitro of the wide cattle pastures, the well-armed, glorious with missiles, reading Zayano, arms, missiles, but the word is ambiguous and might be read Zahishno, emanation, radiation, the most victorious of missiles, in brackets, that is, these are good and more than those of the angel Vahram. 53. I call upon Srosh, the righteous, the handsome, when he holds a sword in his hand over the head of the demons, at that time I call him most. 1654. I call upon the beneficent text, which is very glorious. 55. I call upon the self-sustained universe, boundless time, and the upper working air. 56. I call upon the swift wind created by Auharmazd. Spendermod, the graceful daughter of Auharmazd, I also call. 57. I call upon the good religion of the Mazdayastians, the law against the demons, the Vendidad. The law of Zarathustra, I also call. Now, it's important to distinguish between what came through the prophets and what the priests have come up with or represented, or, Zarathustra, I also call. 1758. Zarathustra inquired of Auharmazd thus, Thou art a generous creator. Or it may be translated as in page 334, note 1. We are on page 384. O Auharmazd, in brackets, that is, the benefit from him is much. 59. With what words do I reverence? With what words do I worship thee? And do my disciples and these creatures of Auharmazd. 1860. And Auharmazd said to him thus, When thou comest up to a growing tree, O Spitaman Zarathustra. 61. Which is fine, well grown, and strong, recite these words. 62. Salutation to the good tree created by Auharmazd, and righteousness. Dastur Hoshangje observes that when a Parsi priest goes nowadays up to a pomegranate tree to cut the Ruvaram, he does not use these words, but washes his hands and the knife with consecrated water, thrice reciting Kshnaothra Ahoraha Mazdao Asham Bohu, and cuts a twig from the pomegranate tree for the Ruvaram, and a leaflet from the date tree for the Unhana, or girdle of the barsom. The instructions in the text, however, refer to the cutting of the barsom itself, which is now hardly ever done, as they generally use metal wires instead of twigs. A. Righteousness is the best prosperity, in brackets, a store of these is good duty and good works. B. Virtuous is righteousness. Virtuous is he who is a right doer through perfect righteousness, in brackets, that is, he performs duty and good works. This Pahlavi translation of the Eshem Bohu formula is omitted by Spiegel, but is given in the old manuscripts. 1963. Thou mayest carry off barsom for that ceremony, a span long and a barley corn thick. 64. Thou shouldest not cut up the barsom with over attention. The word avar Nikir Ishni is not a correct equivalent of the Avesta Pa'er Karatem, but it is hazardous to alter it into Avar Karin Ishni. In brackets, that is, thou shouldest leave it to, out of brackets, men become righteous. So thou shouldest break it off for if Shikan A'eh be read instead of Shedkun A'eh, and that is the priests. Well, being a priest and righteous aren't the same thing, are they? And it is held by them in the left hand, 65, and A'u Harmazd is prayed to by them. And the Amesha Spens are prayed to by them. 66, Homa 2, the golden-hued, the exalted, and they also who are excellent, Bohuban, and good liberality, created by A'u Harmazd. The righteous and best are prayed to likewise by them. 2067. Zarathusht inquired of A'u Harmazd thus, Thou art omniscient, O A'u Harmazd. 68. Thou art sleepless, O A'u Harmazd, and unintoxicated, thou who art A'u Harmazd. 69. A good-minded man is mingled in direct pollution with him, Vol. A good-minded man is mingled in indirect pollution with him, Vol, whose body is stricken by the demons and defiled. The demons mingle him with it. In brackets, that is, they would make him completely defiled. Out of brackets, did the good-minded one become purified. 2170. And A'u Harmazd said to him thus, Seek for bull's urine, O Zarathusht, of a young entire bull, lawfully inaugurated. The bull whose urine is employed for such purposes has to be once properly consecrated by a certain ceremony when he becomes Da'ityo Karato and can then supply lawful urine for the rest of his life. Issues with that in a physical sense don't change via when a ritual's done, 71. Thou mayest carry on the purification on the land created by A'u Harmazd, in brackets, that is, they may perform it in a wild spot of Nava, the Basva, Drajo, 9 fathoms length, out of brackets, 72, with a surrounding furrow, he should score it around the man who is purifying. 2273, 100 praises of righteousness are to be recited thus, Ashem Bahu, and so on, and 74, 200 Yatha Ahu Ba'iryos. Probably meaning, the words Yatha Ahu Ba'iryo, Vad, Vastaram, which have been taken into the Avesta text, see page 335, we're in 385, belong no doubt to the Pahlavi translation. 75. With 4 times thorough washing, he is washed over by the man who is purifying, with bull's urine produced by bulls twice, with water, which should be created by A'u Harmazd, which should be well-formed. Probably meaning pure water in the old text, the conditional a'eh occurs twice, as here translated, which should be well-formed. 2376. Purified becomes the good-minded man, purified becomes the man who shall come with him, or who shall come in contact with him. 77. The clothing of the good-minded one is to be taken up by the left arm with the right, and by the right arm with the left, with the assistance of one another. 78. Then the good-minded one is to be called out. In all unaltered manuscripts, but Dastur Hoshangji suggests that Shari Tunisian is to be open or exposed and should be read instead of Kari Tunisian. Shall come out with him, or who shall come in contact with him. And where's the water created by Hermas, the pure water. The manuscripts contains twice is translated. Okay. In the light produced by skill, that we may be brighten his star, given by destiny. 79. Always till those 9 nights shall elapse over the man. 2480. After the 9 nights thou mayest carry forth consecrated water to the fire, thou mayest carry forth the hard firewood to the fire, thou mayest carry forth sweet-scented incense to the fire. 81. And he who is good-minded should fumigate his clothes. 2582. Purified becomes the clothing of the good-minded one. Purified becomes the man who holds the clothing. 83. The clothing and so on is in verse 77. Well, 77th section. 84. The good-minded one exclaims thus, Salutation to Auharmaz, salutation to the Meshaspen, salutation to those other righteous ones. A. Haug, the name of one of the old commentators, showed from this passage that he whose hands are not washed should not reverence the sun and should not engage in silent prayer. Vaj. 2685. Zarathustra inquired of Auharmaz thus, Thou art omniscient, O Auharmaz. Shall I raise the righteous man? Shall I raise the righteous woman? Shall I raise the wicked and the idolaters, the men who are polluters? The reading of the old manuscript is certainly Gushno, Zahishnan, and its interpretation of the Vestin, Maurez Ujitim. 87. The giving up, taking bara, Yahabunato, which the old manuscripts append to both clauses of the sentence. As a nominative, it might be translated result, but the passage seems to refer to the resurrection or to the soul's entrance into its separate spiritual life, as detailed in the following verses. Removes away the earth created by Auharmaz. The giving up removes away the flowing water, the growing corn. As we've seen earlier, we mean stuff like barley, not what we in the West usually say when we say corn. And the other wealth. 88. And Auharmaz said to him thus, Thou mayest rise them, O righteous Zarathustra. 2789. Creator of the material world, righteous one. The opening sentence is abbreviated in the old manuscripts. Where are these events? The traditional meaning of dasar is destiny. Enlargement. Where do those events proceed? In brackets, that is, where is the place of their coming and going? Out of brackets, wherewith are those events in connection? Where do those events come back to the same place for a man whom they give up to his own soul in the material life of mankind? As the meaning is not very clear, it is safest to give a literal translation. 2890. And Auharmaz said to him thus, After the passing away of men, generally we mean people, not just one gender or age, after the proceeding forth of men, in brackets, that is, when the proceedings in the world are completed, after the tearing away of the life from the former body by the demons, the wicked ones astute and evil, in brackets, that is, of everyone, they most tear away that from which unseparated, apara, he does not die, out of brackets. 91, on the complete uplifting of the third night, when the dawn glows, the beaming. 92, on the mountain of the glory of righteousness, were it, probably the dawn, arouses Mitro, the well-armed. 93, and the sun rises up there in its ascent. 2994, the demon Vizarsh by name, O Spitaman Zarathustra, carries off the soul bound, the wicked and the idolaters, the men who are polluters. A, that is with a halter band, which falls upon the neck of everyone when he dies. When the righteous, it falls off from his neck. Ash min Chavarman, when wicked, they will drag him with that same halter to hell. 95, he comes to the time-worn path, whoever is wicked and whoever is righteous. A is entirely in brackets. Everyone will come to that place to behold Auharmaz and Ahriman. He who is righteous to offer prayer, but he who is wicked is unable to offer prayer and becomes repentant, and by his repentance they restore the dead again. 96. To the Chinvad bridge created by Auharmaz, where they clear away para, sadend, the worldly portion of the consciousness, and soul 97, which was given to them in the material world 3098. She who is graceful in appearance, well formed, in brackets, that is, it is not necessary to do anything to her. Out of brackets, that's literally, it is not necessary to perform an operation upon her. Strong, in brackets, that is powerful, assuming that Kik, Aig, Tuban, the reading of the old manuscripts in London, stands for Takik, Aig, Tuban. So out of brackets, well developed, back into brackets, that is, she has grown in excellence. Out of brackets comes 99 with the dog. Brackets, that is, protection is with her. Out of brackets with discrimination. Brackets, that is, it is evident who is who and where is which. Out of brackets with replies. The oldest reading is Pasuko Homand, but Duster Hoshangje suggests reading Pusan Homand, having sons, or maybe even having children. In brackets, that is with goodness and crime. So out of brackets, probably meaning she has the replies of both the good and the bad. The oldest reading is Vasi, Va Bajak, and Vasi is very like Vahi. Oh, no, that was supposed to be Vasi, is very like Vahi. Dastur Hochangje suggests reading Vesh, Bachak, many children. So out of brackets, willing, back into brackets, that is as a man requires, out of brackets, and provided with skill. 100. Old manuscripts omit the Pahlavi translation of the first clause of the sentence in the Avesta. She dismisses the sinful soul of the wicked into the glooms. See page 255. That's the Norse realm that I've referred to with the lunar sphere, right? This is no doubt a blunder, as there is no reason to suppose that this clause in Avesta is an Avesta quotation introduced by the Pahlavi translator. She supports the soul of the righteous across Alborz. 101. They pass across by the Chinvad bridge, whose two extremes, two Sarih, are their own heavenly angels. A. One stands at Chakad e da Ite. The Bundahish, page 22, Westergaard's edition, states that the mountain Chakade de Iti is that of the middle of the world, the height of 100 men, on which the Chinvad bridge stands, and they take account of the soul at that place. And one at Alborz. 31, 102, Bohuman shall rise up from a throne made of gold, A, where he transacts the affairs of the dominion of the eternal ones. Reading Avidaman Karano, those acting without time, but this is liable to the objection that Avi ought to be otherwise written. 103, Bohuman exclaims thus, How hast thou come up here, O righteous one, tasting immortality? Anosh Vashtamun. 104, from that perishable world which is afflicted unto this imperishable world which is unafflicted. 32, 105. Contented the soul of the righteous goes on from Bohuman, 106, up to Auharmazd, and up to the Ameshaspens, and up to the throne made of gold, 107, up to Gorodman, the abode of Auharmazd, the abode of the Ameshaspens, the abode of those others who are also alike. Hamich, righteous ones. 33, 108. Owing to the purified state of that righteous one, in brackets, owing to the protection of purity in the soul, the word Pahlavi seems to have been written by mistake in the old manuscript in London and to have been corrected by a marginal gloss into Pahlavi. Later copyists give both words in the text as here translated. And Avidaman Karano, those acting without time, but this is liable to be the objection that Avi ought to be otherwise written than this mention of the eternal ones in 31:1. But back to 33:108. Into the protection, the purity of the soul. Okay, out of brackets. After passing away, the wicked demons, astute and evil, are frightened away by its scent. 109. As a sheep molested by wolves when it is frightened off by the scent of a wolf. 34. 110. The righteous men come together, every one. The old manuscripts are here for once more corrupt than the modern ones. A. Some say Hushadar, Hushadarma, and Soshyans. 111. And Neryosang brings them together. 112. The messenger of Auharmazd call Neryosang, traditionally the friend. 113. Thou shouldst thyself, O Zarathustra, call upon these creatures of Auharmazd, in brackets, that is, do not surrender it from thy hand. This is a repetition of 49, and the subject now returns to the point it left when interrupted by the inquiries in 58. 35, 115. 114. Zarathustra considered my words and so on, as in verse 50 above. 115, and said, I call upon Auharmazd, the righteous, the wise. So, the bracketed part of 113 as a repetition of 49, and the subject now returns to the point it left when interrupted by the inquiries in 58, and the wise misinterpretation of the Avesta, see page 256, we're on page 388. 116, I call upon the earth created by Auharmazd, the water created by Auharmazd, and the rightful vegetation. 117, I call upon the sea which is made wide. A free translation of Furukasha, which is always Furakukard in Pahlavi. 118, I call upon the sky, the handsome formed, in brackets, that is, it is formed well vaulted. So in the old manuscripts, but vaulted together in the latter ones. 119, I call upon the endless light, the self-sustained. In brackets, that is, its self-sustainment is this, that they make everyone for its own, for itself. The fixed stars which produce their own light. 36, 120. I call upon the better world of the righteous, of all glorious light. 121. I call upon Gorodman, the abode of Auharmazd, and the abode of the Meshaspens, and the abode of those other righteous ones. 122. I call upon the constantly advantageous place, the self-sustained. This Hamishak Sudak Gas appears to be the place of the Hamistakan of the latter books, the intermediate place between heaven and hell, reserved for those souls whose good works exactly counterbalance in their sins, and where they remain in a stationary state till the final resurrection. In brackets, its constant advantageousness is this, that when it once became so, all of it became thereby ever advantageous. Out of brackets, the Chinvad bridge, created by Auharmazd, I also call. Well, perhaps mentioning or affirming in one's cosmology. 37, 123. I call upon good fortune, the wishful-eyed, the favoring, the spirit of favor, who chus me. 124. I call upon the valiant guardian angels of the righteous, who benefit all creatures. 125. I call upon the victorious angel, Behram, created by Ahurmazd, who bears the standard of glory created by Ahurmazd. 126. I call upon the star Tishtar, the brilliant, the glorious, at the time when it is in the form of a bull, with golden horns. I call it most. 38, 127. I call upon the perpetuous Gathas, ruling the chiefs of the creation in righteousness. Brackets, the rulership of the chiefs is this, that it is proper to pray to any of the others through them. 128. I call upon the Ahuna Vaite Gatha. I call upon the Ushta Vaite Gatha. I call upon the Spenta Vainu Gatha. I call upon the Bohu Kshatra Gatha. I call upon the Bahish Toishte Gatha. 39, 129. I call upon the region Keshvar of Arizahe and of Savahe. I call upon the region of Fradadafshu and of Vidadafshu. I call upon the region of Bahuru Bareshte and of Bahuru Jareshte. I call upon the region of Qanaratha, the splendid. A. This they assert, as they are stationed, a hist in this one. 130. I call upon Het Homand. See Vendidad 150, page 361. We are on page 389. The illustrious, the glorious. 131. I call upon the good Ashishang. See page 215. I call upon the most rightful Rajastak, the learned, the good. 132. I call upon the glory of the Iranian countries. I call upon the glory of Jamshed, the rich in flocks. 140, 133. 40, 133. When Srosh is satisfied with the 3 nights' worship and is recognized, meaning the 3 nights after a death, during which ceremonies in honor of Srosh are to be performed. After the 3rd day and night, ceremonies commence in honor of the Ardai Favrard, our righteous guardian angels. The word meaning the 3 nights is traditionally pronounced Sedosh or Sades. See Ma'inyo Ikard 2110. 43.7. And it's sometimes confounded with Srosh, but it seems to be nothing but a Satui triplet. Compare the Persian Satu. In brackets, that has completed its consideration out of brackets and accepted it, Srosh, the righteous, the handsome, tramp Srosh, the righteous. 134. Consecrated water is to be carried forth to the fire. Thou shouldst carry forth hard firewood to the fire, and thou shouldst carry forth sweet-scented incense to the fire. 135. The fire, Vazisht, is to be propitiated, which smites the demon Spenjagar. 136. 135. Cooked food is to be carried forth full of dried sugar plums. The oldest reading looks like Bara Kashad Shakarpak, but should probably be read Bara Kushkid Shakar Redjak. 41. 137. Thou shouldst propitiate Shrosh, the righteous. 138. Shrosh, the righteous, who destroys the demons who are stupid, drunk, and causelessly drunk. In brackets, that is, drunk without wine. 139. He hurls them down to the Druj of Askan. The oldest reading is Druj-e Askano, but the meaning is uncertain. It seems to be merely a transcript of the Avesta Drujaskanam, the wicked and the idolaters, the men who are polluters, back to Vizarsh, the demon. The word Da'evo, which, although in Avesta letters seems to belong to the Pahlavi text, is omitted by Spiegel along passage, see page 336, 337, is here omitted in the old manuscripts with the Pahlavi translation. This omission has evidently been caused by the loss of a folio in some original manuscript, whence they have all descended. (44) 140. The evil spirit exclaimed thus. Oh, well, we have 6 dots here, so is something missing between 43 and 44? I mean, 139 and 140. So 41 and 44. Okay, yeah, we're skipping over 2 and 3. Okay, the evil spirit exclaimed thus, "Why do we assemble in an assembly, O wicked demons, astute and evil, on the summit of Arazur?" See page 337, note 9. In brackets, that is, when we go back, what report, Strobach, do we carry back? 45, 141. They rushed and they shouted the cries of demons. They became worse about the matter. The demons, the wicked ones, astute and evil. Good ones, astute and evil. The 2 clauses of the sentence, page 337, are omitted in the old Pahlavi translation, and it seems so something's after that. 142. For this we assemble in an assembly on the summit of Arazur. 46, 143. Because the righteous Zarathustra is born in the dwelling of Porushasp. 144. Where can we procure his death? For he is the smiter of the demons, and he is the adversary of the demons. 145. He restrains the destroyer from destroying. In brackets, that is, he takes away his oppressiveness. Out of brackets, he puts down idolatry. In brackets, that is, he makes it powerless. 146. He proclaims avoidance of the corruption, Nasush, produced by the demons, the falsehood of Mitokt, the liar. He also makes powerless. 147. The demons shouted, the demons fled, the wicked ones, astute and evil, to the bottom of the world of darkness, which is the grievous hell, and back to constant smoke. Reading A'irong, compare the Persian, Arong. The Dasters prefer reading A'irog, which they translate stinking, because Avrong, or something similar, is the word for incense rituals, right?